Tonight, alarmed by a lack of alarms.
I'm quite stressed because I rely on the alarm that everything is safe for all of us.
How some home and business owners say they figured out their monitored security systems may not be. Also tonight, more questions around safety protocols at Health Sciences Center after a pair of healthcare workers are assaulted. Plus, family reunification at risk.
It's not over. Like, what does next year look like? What does next 6 months look like?
Why a nonprofit that brings families together is at risk of falling apart.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Some Manitobans are questioning whether their home or office alarm systems are working. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. On October 1st, API Alarm took over Bell's home security and alarm monitoring branch. And a number of customers say that's when they started doubting their systems. CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live to explain. Jeff, why are these customers convinced there's a problem?
Because some say they triggered their own alarms to see if they'd get a response, and there was no call from the company or the police. Checkups are a daily routine at the Selkirk Veterinary Services Clinic, but owner Dr. Bert Klug wonders if anyone's checking up on them.
Because I was really worried that there is no monitoring, and I wanted to try what happens if I trigger an alarm.
Klug has an alarm system in case of break-ins or fires. As of October 1st, she has a new company overseeing her system, API Alarm. They bought the service from Bell, CTV News' parent company. But Klug says she hasn't been able to get in touch with API's monitoring division to see if everything is working properly. So she tripped her own alarm and says there was no call from API or visit from the police.
Quite stressed because I rely on the alarm that everything is safe for all of us.
And she might not be alone. A number of people in and around Winnipeg have posted online that they can't reach anyone at API about issues they're experiencing since the switchover. One woman posted she set off her alarm 3 times and no response. Another told CTV News her system is not working at all.
We were getting some strange alerts.
Leo Boato says in the last few weeks, he's had 77 text alerts, some warning him his sensors are offline, but he can't get any answers to see if that's true.
So I don't really know even if our house is properly secure or not, because we've had all these alerts and nobody's contacted us.
A spokesperson from API Alarm sent CTV News this statement. I can confirm we have no issues at all in our emergency monitoring services. We can't comment on specific customers who may have issues at their home or office without knowing more details. Could their phone or internet be down, for example? We are experiencing a high volume to our customer service lines, which is different than our monitoring services, and our client service reps are responding to all customer service-related questions as fast as they can. Klug hopes her system is in tip-top shape.
We triggered an alarm and I have no feedback.
API also says they strive to always provide great service and will continue to do so for all of their customers now and in the future.
All right, thanks for this, Jeff. A family from northern Manitoba is asking anyone with information to come forward after their son went missing in the spring.
Right now, me and my family are broken. We need to bring him home for our own peace of mind.
24-year-old Troy Saltier was last seen May 11th, leaving a home in Thompson. RCMP confirmed there is an active investigation into his disappearance and also noted Saltier has several outstanding warrants for assault, break and enter, and failure to comply. His family acknowledged he is wanted but doesn't believe he's running from the law. Instead, they fear something nefarious has happened.
He has charges, assault charges, but it's not like him to be disappearing on us like that for so long. I would just like him to be back with us. We want answers where he is. He's out there alone. Nobody there with him.
Saltier is described as 5 feet 3 inches tall, 110 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Another violent incident at Manitoba's largest hospital. Officials confirm a nurse and a unit assistant were both assaulted Sunday in the Emergency Department of Health Sciences Center. And joining me now with more on this is CTV's Taylor Brock. Taylor, what happened here?
Well, details on what exactly happened are scarce, Marilee. However, we do know the person being accused of the assault was a patient. This despite new safety measures announced just last month. Shared Health says a patient receiving mental health care in the adult ER assaulted both a nurse and a unit assistant. Officials with the health agency say neither staff member sustained serious physical injuries, and they're ensuring both have access to support. Shared Health also says all appropriate safety protocols were followed. However, the Manitoba Nurses Union is questioning why these staff members were there in the first place.
Why is a nurse been a sitter to a patient? That's why we have security guards, why we have ISOs, and that's why we actually have a classification called qualified persons, and those are individuals who are able to take over care of a psychiatric patient and look after them.
In August, Manitoba nurses grey-listed the Health Sciences Centre, meaning they believe HSC is an unsafe working environment. Doctors Manitoba echoed the union's concerns shortly afterward, with data showing almost half of all physical safety incidents among physicians last year took place at the HSC.
So, Taylor, have police laid any charges in connection to this incident?
Well, we asked the Winnipeg Police Service if it was investigating. In an emailed statement, the service says, quote, "We have been made aware of an incident and are working to obtain the totality of the circumstances that occurred."
Taylor, didn't the province announce new safety measures for HSC, including dedicated police officers? Where's that at?
Well, that's right, Marilee. In September, the Manitoba government announced it's adding 2 uniformed Winnipeg police officers on site 24/7 and 5 new weapon detection scanners at main public entrances. We contacted Shared Health today asking for an update on these measures. We're still waiting for a response.
All right, thanks for this, Taylor. The teenager hit by a vehicle in Selkirk last week has died. RCMP say the 17-year-old boy died of his injuries yesterday. Mounties previously said he and another teen were walking on Manitoba Avenue on the evening of October 15th when he was hit from behind by a vehicle. He was airlifted to hospital in critical condition. The other pedestrian and the 27-year-old man behind the wheel of the vehicle were uninjured. A warning for motorists tonight traveling Manitoba highways this fall. This is the most dangerous time of the year for wildlife collisions. According to numbers from Manitoba Public Insurance, there were 14,000 wildlife collisions last year. There's been about 7,000 so far this year, and they don't just happen on rural highways. Crashes happen within city limits as well, and most take place right now between October and November. MPI says most collisions are with deer, but some involve bears, and if you do hit a bear, you're more likely to get injured.
Typically, especially with deer and bears, they're preparing for winter, right? So they're getting as much food as they can. Leaves are coming off trees, berries are disappearing, so they have to forage a little bit further for food. So, they're traveling more, and if they travel more, their chances of crossing a roadway or encountering a vehicle increase.
MPI spokesperson Tara Seal says drivers need to slow down, especially during dusk and dawn. You should also scan the sides of the roadway for signs of active animals and pay attention to wildlife crossing highway signs. Well, if your fall to-do list includes bagging leaves, cleaning out gardens, or trimming trees, this weekend might be your best time to do it. City yard waste collection is ending for the season. Winnipeg's Public Works says collection for residents in Area A ends between October 27th and 31st. While people in Area B will get their last pickup between November 3rd and 7th. After those dates, you can bring your jack-o'-lanterns and other yard waste to one of the city's 4R depots. If you don't know which area you're in, the city says you can call 311 or visit its website. And this weekend's weather looks like perfect yard cleanup weather, Colleen.
It is sensational. Very warm temperatures today out in the southwest. We will join you here in the southeast tomorrow and especially on the weekend. But if you are planning to be raking some leaves tomorrow here in Winnipeg, just it's going to be a little on the windy side. So those winds might be, or those leaves rather, might be blowing around a little bit. So yes, lovely conditions today. It was nice to see the sunshine return, still nice and clear. We have upper ridge of high pressure both at the upper and surface levels responsible for that. Also also responsible for some fog in some places last night. We may see that again tonight. I'll show you where coming up. Let's take a look right now through the Bath Fitter Live Eye. Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. In Winnipeg right now, nice and clear, 6 degrees, light winds from the south, the pressure's dropping, and the humidity right now, Marilee, is 73%.
Thanks, Colleen. An early morning fire at a downtown restaurant snarled traffic on Main Street. Video shared with CTV News shows smoke and flames pouring out of Bougie Restaurant at the corner of Main Street and York Avenue. The city says the call came in around 5:45 and crews had the fire under control within about an hour. Northbound Main Street was down to one lane for some time. Bougie Restaurant owner Kanish Sue declined to be interviewed, saying he's in shock and waiting on the police investigation. Police had little else to add, just telling CTV News the cause is under investigation. A Winnipeg nonprofit is fighting for its survival tonight. Jeffrey's Garden works to reunify Indigenous parents with their children. But as CTV's Joseph Bernacki shows you, it may not be able to stay open much longer if federal funding disappears.
Jeffrey's Garden started with a simple vision, helping Indigenous families living with addiction reunite.
When I see the diverse people coming through here and seeing their struggles, that we can sit down and have an honest conversation.
The organization has helped dozens of families since they opened in 2020, but the future is now uncertain.
The last few months have been a really big struggle for us.
Executive Director Cindy Huckerby says Jordan's Principle provided 100% of their funding since November 2021. The crisis began when the funding through Indigenous Services Canada was pulled in November 2024. Since then, Jeffrey's Garden has been trying whatever they could to stay afloat.
My partner ended up pulling money out of his line of credit in order for us to make payroll, so we didn't have to do that. There was a lot of sleepless nights that were happening through that.
The organization is currently at full capacity with 7 families. While we could not identify these women due to privacy concerns, mothers at Jeffrey's Garden are concerned they could lose access to a place that is helping them.
Making these relationships with these moms here is it's very important. It's nice to have people going through the same things you're going through because you know you're not alone.
Huckerby says they have continued to ask the province for additional funding, but have not been successful. In a statement to CTV News, Families Minister Nahani Fontaine writes in part, "Our department has been in ongoing communication with Jeffrey's Garden around provincial funding opportunities and has met with them directly to provide further information. We've written twice to the federal government this spring and again after that, meeting to advocate on behalf of continued Jordan's Principle funding and seek clarity on how Ottawa will fund all organizations supported through Jordan's Principle." Huckerby says they recently got funding from Jordan's Principle for a few families, enough to allow the organization to stay open for at least 3 months. Thomas says his team is not going to give up looking for funding.
We believe that what we're doing here is worth the hardship, because at the end of the day, it's all about the children.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Winnipeg.
CTV News reached out to Indigenous Services Canada to ask if there would be any future funding for Jeffrey's Garden through Jordan's Principle. We have not yet received a response. A 41-year-old man is in custody charged with second-degree murder after a homicide in northern Manitoba. RCMP responded to a stabbing at a home on Norway House, Cree Nation, Tuesday morning. They found an injured 38-year-old man who was pronounced dead at the scene. RCMP say investigators recovered what they believe is the murder weapon at a nearby residence. A 41-year-old man was arrested. RCMP Major Crime Services and Forensic Identification Services are still investigating. Cannabis stashed in a safe and staff rolling joints. That's what a Winnipeg courtroom heard Tuesday as a foster care organization pled guilty to giving children cannabis. Spirit Rising House, which operated 14 foster homes in Manitoba, made the plea as part of a bargain to stay charges against its directors and staff. A judge is instead ordering Spirit Rising to pay $35,000 in fines. The organization's lawyer told the court it had no ill intent. Spirit Rising House primarily cared for highly vulnerable youth needing intensive support due to substance abuse and trauma. The defense said cannabis was used to manage the youth's behavior and was offered as an alternative to potentially using substances that could be more harmful. However, the Crown argued out of everyone given cannabis, only 2 people actually had prescriptions for it. It's School Bus Safety Week, and Manitoba Public Insurance is teaming up with a local school division to drive home an important message. This year, MPI and River East Transcona School Division are reminding motorists about the importance of driving carefully around school buses to ensure all students get to and from school safely. One experienced school bus driver, who is now a trainer, says she sees other drivers breaking the rules every day.
People coming on to you without realizing that a bus can't back up. It comes from them literally not seeing you and pulling out of driveways, people not going through stop signs, running through yellow lights. It ranges. The range is so wide.
Over the past 4 years, there have been more than 450 school bus collisions in Manitoba, causing 105 injuries. The oldest house in Winnipeg is being recognized by the federal government. After a years-long process, today, Seven Oaks House officially became a National Historic Site. Seven Oaks House was built roughly 175 years ago. It once belonged to John and Mary Inkster, an influential Scottish Métis family in the Red River settlement. Now, the federal government has officially given it a National Historic Site designation. It's something Ottawa reserves for places which illustrate defining moments in our history and help us to connect with the past. Seven Oaks House officially hopes this designation will unlock some additional funding, which could be crucial for its future.
It's something that the site deserves, I believe, and it's definitely something that the site needs. So that will be part of my my work in the next year to start to really put together proposals and plans for doing some restorative work that that would really really make this site shine.
Seven Oaks House is a seasonal museum open from May long weekend to Labor Day. It's also a provincial heritage site. Professional basketball is being rocked today by news of a massive gambling scandal.
Your winning streak has ended. Your luck has run out.
How many people are facing charges in the alleged scheme that involved the mafia and rigged poker tables? That story when we return.
Your morning just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Winnipeg, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
According to Statistics Canada, the number of Manitobans receiving employment insurance benefits rose by 500 in August. That's up 2.6% from a month earlier and ahead of the national average, which was nearly unchanged. Across Canada, the number of beneficiaries increased the most for those employed in trades, transport, sales, and services. Turning to the markets now, crude oil added $3. The Canadian dollar nearly unchanged. Gold futures gained $80. The TSX rose 203 points. The Dow Jones climbed 144 points, while the Nasdaq finished the day 201 points higher. Today, Ottawa tabled a bill cracking down on violent and repeat offenders. It comes after word the man shot dead by police in Niagara Falls Wednesday was allegedly out on bail for a crime committed 2 years ago against the same woman murdered this week. CTV's Heather Wright reports.
On Tuesday afternoon, shots rang out at this busy shopping plaza in Brampton, Ontario. A woman shot and killed a child abducted. The man accused was awaiting trial for domestic violence charges involving the same woman, 29-year-old Savannah Kula. It's these types of repeat and violent crimes Ottawa is hoping to crack down on, with new measures announced today.
This is a package of sweeping reforms that includes more than 80 targeted measures that will make bail laws stricter and sentencing tougher.
The federal Liberal government has been accused of being soft on crime and for allowing a so-called revolving door justice system that's too lenient on violent offenders. The changes announced today are designed to make bail more difficult to get, creating a reverse onus that falls on the accused.
The accused must provide information that clearly demonstrates they do not pose a public safety risk.
The bill also introduces a new set of aggravating factors that will lead to stiffer penalties against violent and repeat offenders, as well as those who target first responders, organized retail theft, and crimes against public infrastructure. Victims' rights advocates, police unions, and some provinces have been demanding these types of changes amid a rise in violent and high-profile crimes. But not everyone is on side. The Canadian Civil Liberties Association says there is not enough evidence that shows bail causes crime, and they worry innocent people will be held in custody as a result.
We do worry that as we erode this charter right more and more and more, we'll get into a situation where just because you are accused of something before you have your day in court, you're held behind bars.
Asked about whether this bill will require more space in jails, the Justice Minister said provinces asked for these changes and should be developing the capacity to manage more people going through detention facilities. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
The bail reform legislation was met with praise from Winnipeg's mayor.
I think this shows that Ottawa has been listening. In this release, it also shows that some of the accounts that I have been sharing in my weekly bulletins to show the case that repeat violent offenders go on to often to commit more crime. That is borne out in some of the statistics and quotes that are cited in the federal government's news release.
Scott Gillingham has become a vocal advocate for reform, meeting with lawmakers and starting his own repeat offender bulletin to bring attention to the issue. A gambling scandal linked to organized crime has rocked the NBA. A coach and player are among the dozens arrested. Rena Roy has more.
From Las Vegas to Miami and New York, the FBI accusing the mafia, along with current and former NBA coaches and players, of leading an illegal gambling operation for years.
It's really something out of a movie. We've got Italian organized crime. We've got rigged poker game.
Federal authorities announcing the indictment of more than 30 people in 2 separate investigations, including Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups, Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, and former Cleveland Cavaliers player and coach Damon Jones.
Your winning streak has ended. Your luck has run out.
Billups and Jones are charged in what federal prosecutors describe as a complex scheme to rig illegal poker games using wireless cheating technology. With tools like hidden cameras, these X-ray tables that could read cards, and these shuffling machines that had been secretly altered to send that information.
The fraud is mind-boggling. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery.
Billups and Jones accused of attracting victims who prosecutors call fish, members of 3 infamous mafia families allegedly backing the games and taking a cut of the money, according to authorities.
The mafia, specifically members and associates of the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese organized crime families, had pre-existing control over non-rigged illegal poker games around New York City. As a result, they also became involved in the rigged poker games.
Damon Jones is also separately charged in an illegal sports betting scheme along with Terry Rozier. Prosecutors allege they passed inside information to gamblers who used it to place wagers on NBA players and games.
The NBA says Billups and Rozier were immediately placed on leave from their teams as the association cooperates with investigators and reviews the federal indictments. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
The U.S. military has dramatically expanded its campaign against suspected drug traffickers. This time, it struck 2 boats in the Pacific Ocean, killing 5 people. This video was posted by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. It shows one of the 2 strikes off the coast of Colombia. The U.S. has already launched 7 strikes, all in the Caribbean. In all, 32 people have been killed. President Donald Trump has justified the strikes by asserting the United States is engaged in an armed conflict with drug cartels. The Israeli parliament approved a bill today to annex the occupied West Bank. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu opposed the plan, but the bill was passed 25-24. This is the first of 4 votes needed to pass it into law. Annexation of the West Bank would be a violation of international law. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance is in Israel this week and says he is insulted by the vote. Police in Paris say they found traces of DNA on items the thieves left behind at the Louvre theft. The DNA was found on a helmet and a glove and is now being analyzed in hopes of identifying the robbers. Meantime, new video appears to show how the thieves made their getaway. It shows what appears to be the robbers descending down a mechanical ladder from a 2nd-story window. From there, they escape on scooters. Royal jewels valued at more than $100 million were taken. A major milestone for the blue and gold coming up, a historic season in the stands.
And soaring late October temperatures. Take a look at the weekend for Winnipeg. Bright and sunny and 15 degrees. 15 again on Sunday. It'll be cloudier, but hopefully we'll catch some sunny breaks. Then we get into Monday. Now, the timing of the showers that are expected to kick off the week starting to change. There's a chance now they will show up in the afternoon on Monday. More likely Monday night. 13 is the high. Windy during the day on Monday. Rain and showers on Tuesday. Just 9 degrees. Mix of sun and cloud on Wednesday with a high back up to 10.
Tonight's Jets game against the Seattle Kraken could be an episode of Family Feud. Jets defenseman Hayden Fleury is squaring off against his brother Cale, and rookie Brad Lambert's uncle Lane is the bench boss for the Kraken.
It'll be fun for sure. You know, my grandma's in town too, so she gets to see her son coach against her grandson. So you know, it's pretty special.
Just remember the backyard rink games and all the mini sticks and you know all the things along the way. It's you know, these are special nights and some things you'll never forget.
Fleury, Lambert, and the rest of the Jets are on a pretty unforgettable run right now. The team is on a 5-game winning streak and sits second in the Central Division. Coach Scott Arneal says starting strong each game is key to the club's success.
If we get a lead, we can defend it, and we've proven that. And so if we can get out in front of teams, it puts an awful lot of pressure on them to change their game. Now they've got to open up. Now they've got to take a few more chances than they normally would want to do, and then that's maybe where we expose those and get some more goals or more offense from it.
And some good news on the injury front. That's Captain Lowry skating in a yellow non-contact jersey. He's expected back in a matter of weeks. Connor Hellebuck is expected to start against the Kraken tonight. Puck drop from Canada Life Centre is slated for 7.
The Hockey Report, brought to you by Santa Lucia Pizza. Check out the game day special.
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers are thanking their fans after scoring an impressive milestone. In a team first, they've sold out all 9 regular season home games.
For the win, for the W.
More than 32,300 fans flocked to Princess Auto Stadium for 14 games in a row, dating back to August 2024. The team made the announcement today after Saturday's home matchup against the Montreal Alouettes officially sold out. Kickoff is set for 2 p.m. for those lucky enough to get game tickets, that is. Now to Winnipeg High School football, where playoff season is underway. In JV 12 semifinal action Wednesday night, Oak Park High beat out St. Paul's 37-2. Over in St. Vital, Dakota Collegiate shut out Vincent Massey Collegiate 53-0. And if that wasn't enough playoff action for you, Quad A varsity consolation semifinals were also held Wednesday night. Brandon's Crocus Plains Secondary won its final against River East Collegiate 35-28. And Sturgeon Heights Collegiate beat out Kelvin by just a hair. 23-21 was that final. Varsity playoffs continue tonight.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady back now with your complete Skywatch forecast, and temperatures heating up for the weekend.
They sure are. Back up into double-digit territory tomorrow for us here in Winnipeg, and you saw those weekend temperatures, 15 degrees. Well, you're one day ahead of us in the southwest, double-digit temperatures there. In fact, Melita, the hot spot today in Manitoba, reaching 13.4 degrees. Brandon was up to 12. We were here at 8 degrees, but I'll tell you what, Winnipeg actually had the distinction out at the airport this morning of being the cold spot. It was minus 4.9 degrees, out at the airport. And just to give you a sense of how drastically at times temperatures can vary across the Winnipeg area, while it was basically minus 5 at the airport, down at the Forks, where the other Environment Canada weather reporting station is, it was 0. So there you go. And 0 is our forecast low once again tonight here in Winnipeg. Now we have high pressure dominating both at the upper and surface levels across the prairies, including over Manitoba, and that's largely responsible for the sunshine today and the clear skies tonight. A little bit of clear cloudy conditions over the north. There is the good possibility some fog will develop there, but here's the situation. We may see fog in a lot of places, including northwestern Ontario, where there's not much to see here now, and this is after rain, freezing rain, and even some snow across the region yesterday. But back in Manitoba, very early this morning, freezing fog from Brandon right over to Pelican Narrows. That was under that surface ridge of high pressure. Not expected to see fog redevelop overnight in Brandon, but further north in places overnight like Dauphin, Swan River, all across the northwest, back through places like Island Lake, down into eastern Manitoba, and then over into northwestern Ontario. It should miss much of the south, including here in Winnipeg. Otherwise, fairly clear overnight tonight in the south. A few clouds popping up in the north. Pretty quiet. Those ridges of high pressure really keeping conditions quite stable today, tonight, and into tomorrow morning as well. Cloudy in the north in some areas, at least to start out the day. It'll get sunnier in some areas. Bright and sunny all across the south tomorrow, back into northwestern Ontario as well, and that will really continue all throughout the day here in the south. And as you saw there in the north, it brightens right up by late tomorrow afternoon. Into the weekend we go. Saturday morning, lots of sunshine all across Manitoba and northwestern Ontario. Then we get into Sunday, things start to cloud over. 0 tonight for Winnipeg, mostly clear, light winds, and then tomorrow the winds strengthen early in the morning, really. 1 for the commute, mainly sunny, abundant sunshine in the afternoon, up to a high of 11 degrees. Quick swing around the province tonight. We'll likely see fog develop overnight around Island Lake, down to -3 there. Varying amounts of cloud around the rest of the region. Sunshine in the afternoon for Thompson and Gillam, both going up to 6 degrees. Churchill up to 5 tomorrow under a mix of sun and cloud. Slight chance of flurries tonight for Norway House, down to -2. Aside from that, watch for fog to develop all around the region. Sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud tomorrow, highs between 7 and 9. Clear tonight for Brandon and Neepawa, down to -2. Dauphin and Swan River, watch for fog. Look at those temperatures. 12, 15 degrees in the sunshine across the southwest. Winnipeg in the southeast, best chance of fog is to the east through Pinawa and Sprague overnight. Otherwise pretty clear. Temperatures down to freezing, if not just slipping just below it. Sunny tomorrow and a little windy too. Double-digit highs. And in northwestern Ontario, watch for fog overnight, all the way down to -5 in Kenora. Mix of sun and cloud around the region with highs between 6 and 9 degrees. Our first weather photo takes us north of Winnipeg to Oak Hammock Marsh. That great photo there was taken by Allison. And this next one back here in Winnipeg, of course, looking out on that very recognizable mint. That photo is from Dennis. Send us yours to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
The CTV Skywatch Pick of the Day is brought to you by MJ the Musical at Centennial Concert Hall, November 5th to 9th.
It's a program that helps keep kids warm in the winter by providing free coats, boots, ski pants, and more. And tonight it needs your help. Coats for Kids is looking for warm winter clothing, whether that be coats, gloves, boots, scarves, hats, or really any other new or gently used winter gear. The charity is also in need of volunteers to help sort, organize, and package donations.
Lots of children actually in all parts of the city that don't have warm winter wear, and it might be because of poverty. It might be a newcomer family that hasn't experienced a cold winter before, but not having a coat can really get in the way of school attendance and participation with their classmates.
You can drop off any donations at Access Storage locations, Winnipeg Fire Paramedic stations, Toys R Us, or YMCA facilities across Winnipeg. You can order warm winter wear for your family through United Way agencies, schools, and daycares. Another reason to get those steps in, we'll tell you how many steps a week can significantly lower the risk of death in older women. The findings of a new study next in Medical Watch. Manitoba has received a D- for fiscal accountability in a new national report card. The C.D. Howe Institute graded Manitoba at the bottom of the list of all provinces. And joining me now to discuss why is Nick Dahir, a research officer with the C.D. Howe Institute. Nick, good to speak with you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
First, maybe just give us an idea of what this report focuses on. What exactly are you grading?
So, suppose I'll start by saying what we don't grade. We don't grade based on our assessment of whether Canada's senior governments, that is the provincial, territorial, and federal governments, we don't grade them based on whether they're taxing too much or too little, or spending too much or too little, or even if the programs that they do engage in are successful or not. What we examine is how easily these governments, or how well these governments present their financial information at the start and end of the year, so that anyone who can read or write and add and subtract can make those determinations for themselves.
So how transparent they are and how quickly they get that information to their voters. Share some examples of what led to Manitoba's poor grade.
Well, firstly, they released their budget, which is a forward-looking document. It sets out the plan for the upcoming fiscal year. They released it after the fiscal year had already begun, which is a problem if you're in the start of the fiscal year and you want to know who's responsible for all the money being collected and the money being spent for the fiscal year you're in. You don't really have an answer because there has not been a budget out. There has been no fiscal plan out in the year that you're already in. Another major problem that Manitoba has is in the financial statements, which are released after the fiscal year and contain the actual revenues, expenses, and the bottom line. They received a qualified opinion from their auditor. Now, what that means is that in the auditor's assessment, the province was not presenting a portion of the information in adherence to the accounting standard, which is public sector accounting standards. Now, the great thing about public sector accounting standards is that the accumulated deficit, that is the revenues and expenses and their difference over time, the accumulated deficit, the thing about PSAS is that number is a key indicator of the government's capacity to deliver services for the year. So when the auditor says that the province has departed from that presentation in some way, it means that the financial results that the province is reporting at the end of the fiscal year don't necessarily accurately reflect the government's capacity to deliver services, which is very troubling from an accountability and transparency standpoint, because one, it does not tell an ordinary citizen or journalist or anyone who is interested in reading the fiscal situation of their province for the year. It's not giving them an accurate picture of where the government stands, what resources it has to carry on activities in the future. But from an accountability standpoint, it's troubling because the legislators who steward public funds don't have a necessarily precise and accurate view of where the province's books were when they're making decisions for revenue and expenses in the fall for the following year.
For viewers watching right now that maybe don't follow this, why should they be concerned? Why should taxpayers follow this and want fiscal transparency from their governments?
Well, it's very important to keep in mind this is our money. These are monies collected by the government from our work and our savings, and we are stakeholders in the government's operations and the services that they provide. We not only use them, but we're also the bosses in a lot of ways. And it's important that the stakeholders can understand the government's finances. And so with this report card, long-standing report that the Institute produces, assesses how easily just anyone can pick up these fiscal documents and understand them. There shouldn't be large barriers with numbers buried hundreds of pages deep, or with if you want to answer how much is the government spending this year, they shouldn't separate out items. They should present the full consolidated number that captures the entire scope of what the province produces. And unfortunately, I fear that a lot of people don't bother paying attention to the budgets, and more so the financial statements get much less attention.
Well, Nick, we want to
these
thank you.
Documents are very complicated.
Yeah, they definitely are. That's why we appreciate you giving us a summary and keeping us up to date on what is happening. Thanks so much for joining us.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
If you want to live longer, walk longer. That's the conclusion of a new study published this week in the British Journal of Sports Medicine. Well, numerous studies over the years have shown the benefits of more physical activity. These findings show it's particularly true for women. Researchers found older women who walked at least 4,000 steps at least once a week lowered their risk of death by 26%. If that threshold was met 3 times a week, the risk of death fell by any cause by 40%. The most widely used COVID-19 vaccines may offer a surprise benefit for some cancer patients by boosting immune systems to help fight tumors. Research reported in the journal Nature found people with advanced lung or skin cancer lived longer if they received a Pfizer or Moderna shot within 100 days of starting a type of immunotherapy. The mRNA in these vaccines appears to enhance the immune system's response. Now, researchers are preparing a more rigorous study of the potential connection to see if mRNA vaccines should be deliberately paired with cancer drugs called checkpoint inhibitors.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manuke and Koster Denture Clinic. Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Prism and Haywire.
Well, if you're looking for something fun and not too scary for the kids this Halloween season, the Manitoba Children's Museum might just be the place for you. It's putting on its annual Halloween Howl, and it happens this Saturday. The museum will be open for the evening and features hands-on interactive activities for the entire family. There's a puppet show, crafts, even a dance party. Kids can dress up in their costumes and trick-or-treat in a safe environment.
It's just a good, safe space for kids to enjoy a nice Halloween event. It's a little bit before Halloween, so it kind of saves parents a little bit there, too, from the running around. But, yeah, overall, it's just a great, safe place for kids to have some trick-or-treat fun.
The museum's Brady Kidd says when it comes to costumes, no fake weapons or masks, please. Get tickets at the museum or online at childrensmuseum.com. She's bringing the iconic sound back to Canada. Miss Lauryn Hill is hitting the road for an intimate cross-country tour, and it all gets started here in Winnipeg. The Grammy-winning artist and Fugees legend kicks off her Artist-in-Residence tour November 19th at the Burton Cummings Theatre. She'll hit 8 cities, including Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal, her first Canadian show since 2023. Recently, Hill's made surprise appearances with YG Marley, Wyclef Jean, and even Drake. Tickets go on sale Friday at noon. For details, head to MissLaurenHill.com. Now, here's a unique opportunity to learn about the most prized piece of Canadian football hardware from the person who knows it best. None other than Jeff McWhinney, the official keeper of the Grey Cup himself, will be giving a free presentation at Winnipeg's Government House next month. McWhinney will be sharing the history of the iconic trophy and the many behind-the-scenes stories that keep their traditions alive. The event is happening at 7 p.m. November 6th. It is free, but you will need to call the office of the Lieutenant Governor to register ahead of time. Foo Fighters have dropped a new single and announced a stadium tour across the U.S. and Canada. That's a taste of the band's latest single, Asking for a Friend. Their just announced Take Cover tour alongside Queens of the Stone Age kicks off in August in Toronto. There's no Winnipeg stop on the schedule, at least not yet, but they will be in Fargo and Regina in mid-September. Hell's Kitchen heats up your primetime lineup at 7. 911 Nashville follows at 8. Grey's Anatomy is next at 9. And at 10, catch George and Mandy's First Marriage. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
If you missed the Sarah McLachlan concert last night in Winnipeg, stay with us. We have some of the highlights coming up.
It's spooky season, and we're looking for a Halloween house to feature on CTV Your Morning Winnipeg. If you think yours fits the bill, you could win a $500 gift card from St. Mary's Nursery and Garden Center and have the chance to show off your Halloween house live on Your Morning Winnipeg on October 31st with a visit from Ainsley McPhail. To enter, head to our contest page at ctvwinnipeg.ca, fill out the form, and submit some pictures.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Well, Winnipeg at the airport tied with Pilot Mound for the cold spot in Manitoba when we dropped to -5 early this morning. 8 degrees the high temperature. The normal is 7 degrees for this time of year, but just wait. Down to 0 tonight, mostly clear. 11 and windy, but very sunny Friday. 15 on Saturday, 15 again on Sunday. Granted cloudy, but we'll take 15. Chance of showers on Monday. Looks like we'll see showers by Monday night.
Thanks, Colleen. Canadian music icon Sarah McLachlan was in Winnipeg last night performing at Canada Life Centre. And if you missed the concert, you're in luck because we're going to leave you tonight with some of the highlights from that show. Enjoy and have a good night.